Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Saru Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Huskin. Today, we are joined by the magnanimous, the enigmatic, the incredulous, the succulent, the super, the amazing Mr. Doug Jones.
Ah, that's all me. Oh, well, there's an introduction that I cannot live up to, but thank you.
If you don't get succulent in the introduction, it doesn't really hit all the marks.
And at my age, I'm happy to be suck at anything.
Yeah, right before we hit record, actually, we were talking about Doug's birthday and how he posted a really cool picture that pretty much blew up the internet for about 36 hours. Real quick, was that something you've been planning for like 15 years and you're like, I'll do it for 60, or was it you just came up with it that very day?
Well, I took a birthday picture last year for my 59th. I just kind of had a whim, like, I'm going to go out in the backyard and do a little something. I had a bathrobe on with some briefs, but I had the bathrobe draped in a way that looked like I was naked under the bathrobe. All I was showing was a leg and a collarbone. I swear it was the most tasteful thing ever. And I was smelling a rose bush, kind of going. So for my 59th, I wanted to stop and smell the roses. I did some kind of, a thing. Anyway, that blew up. And I thought, oh, next year's 60. I gotta do something. I gotta be bigger and better. So I've been watching my carbs and I've been working out a little bit. And I thought, I'm going to be in the best shape a 60-year-old can be in. And I dropped my pants and I went out in my underwear in the backyard and got some props. And I got a party hat and a noisemaker and a sparkly lei, and I had my stuffed dog Zeke with me, who's right here today, by the way. He's been with me for quite a few years. He travels with me everywhere.
Yeah, wait. You did say that in the picture. I'm sorry, but you said, and I thought about that. That's a big dog. Do you actually put that dog in your luggage everywhere you go?
I do. He smashes in my luggage. He comes out quite flat every time. He's not happy about it, but he's. But
wow.
Yeah. So I took this picture and I did some after effects to make it look more like I love Maxfield Parrish, the painter, and so I kind of threw some effects on it, made it look like one of his paintings, and had the sun at the right angle, and I was very happy with the outcome of it all. I was. So now I can let myself go.
Are you able to top that one next year? That's gonna be that's a hard one.
61's not a landmark.
It's not a landmark.
Yeah, maybe I can be more goofy next year. I don't know. Like this one wasn't goofy because I was wearing pasties, for crying out loud.
Saru, have you ever worn pasties?
Not yet. Still on my bucket list.
By the way, we just found out that one of Saru's first commercials was Capri Sun, everybody. So for everybody and their trivia, Capri Sun.
Oh.
Yes. I don't know why that comes up out of nowhere, but
are you sipping on one right now? Is that why?
I was sipping on a Capri Sun. It's kind of done now, but yes.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I'm all about my Capri Suns.
Capri done. So Mr. Doug Jones is somebody that we've all been watching and knowing all about, even if we don't realize it. He was the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four. He was the Fawn, and this guy, I can't remember this guy in Pan's Labyrinth. He was Abe Sapien in Hellboy. And now everybody in Star Trek land is finally catching up because he is Saru in Discovery. And so,
wow.
My first question about that, Mr. Doug Jones, and I think I know the answer, but when you're in makeup and when you're in heels and when you're working all day, 15 hours, 20 hours, when you're done, what is the sorest part of your body?
Well, it would be this part of my foot, both my feet, because when I've been standing a lot in my hoof boots, my feet are just like, put me on flat land, please, for the love of Pete.
Yeah.
I don't know who Pete is, but I'm happy when those shoes come off.
Those are like 6-inch stilettos on crack.
Yeah, they make me about 6'8" when I'm wearing them. So,
wow.
But also my head, I shaved my head for the show, so the silicone mask makeup can be glued onto me all over my head without bald capping me first. It saves us a step in the process. And so that doesn't breathe. You are encased in saran wrap all day. Basically, I'm like locked for freshness. So when that comes off, it's like, it's like it's a religious experience. I'm wearing also silicone gloves, so my hands they're very, very flexible, and I've got great hand mobility in them. But when they come off, it's also like I can use a phone again. I can use my own buttons on my own pants, whatever it is. Yeah. So and the contact lenses are and they take the very good best care of me. Every department that puts something on me coddles me all day long. It's like I'm a nursing home patient. They take very good care of me. And my eyes are extremely, eyes are a very sensitive area. So when I've got my contact lenses in, Alana, my lens tech, she's on every 20 minutes, dropping them, making sure we're okay. If she sees any redness or any kind of goo buildup, she'll start alerting people that the clock is ticking on my eyes. And So when those come out at the end of the day, I'm usually a little bit reddened can you tell I don't love the process? I love the outcome. I love the look so much. I love the final product. But the process, and I just turned 60. So, it's
we don't know.
How long after all that stuff comes up before you start to say, all right, I'm back normal. I feel myself again.
But it's not the next day. The thing is, if I have a heavy episode, I'm in Monday through Friday, so that's every day. So Saturday, you'll find me face down, fast asleep, snoring for all day. I'm usually okay by the Monday to go back in again. Yeah. So it takes a couple of days of just like quiet, draw the blinds, drool on myself, don't come out and play.
Wow.
Was there ever something, because I'm picturing you and like basically you're in like a prison, like just in a full body prison 5 days a week. But I'm trying to think.
A happy creative prison, mind you.
Yes, and it seems like you love all the people with whom you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you do a fantastic job as that character. I'm watching you on Discovery. I love what you do.
Oh,
you're awesome. So there's nobody missing out on your performance. You're doing a great job. Despite the fact that you have to, tolerate all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about the gloves, by the way, I did notice when you said you got great mobility, there are some scenes where you actually show off all these finger movements and, grabbing Burnham's neck or whatever it was when she's taking a bath or something like that.
Oh, in the mirror universe. Yes.
Yeah. There's it's very clear that you have like a full range of motion.
Yeah. And that's unusual for hands. I've been so many creatures over 35 years now, 34 years, that the hands are often like that because there's so much movement in someone's hands. To make a glove go over that, or a prosthetic makeup go over that doesn't wrinkle, is unheard of. So they came up with a design and a material and a perfect fit that I don't wrinkle. I wish that was true for the rest of me.
Oh, you don't wrinkle. You don't.
That actually made me think of another thing. There is a way that you move your body as that character that it seems unusual. I haven't seen anybody else who plays a humanoid character in Star Trek alter their actual body movements in the way that you do. What made you think about that? There's a way that you bend over. There's a way that you tilt your head. It's very deliberate, it seems.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for noticing. Well, again, because going back to that 34-year career of mine, I've played so many otherworldly creatures and aliens, monsters, animal man hybrids, that every time my biggest challenge is making this one different than the last 33 years, right? How do I make this one different? So when given Saru, for the first, this is a rarity that it's basically the makeup is head and hands, the hoof and the hoof boots, right? The rest of the body is all mine. So I'm often added to musculaturely, or with weird juts, or with wings, or with horns, or with or with
Ganglia.
a ganglia, right? That's it. But from the neck down, there's often some addition or enhancement of the body. This time it's a Starfleet uniform and a skinny guy underneath it. And I think there's a tale that's been told a couple times that in one of my early fittings, costume fittings, Gersha Phillips, our costume designer, had a huddle of people, and they're all looking at my ass. And I looked over at them and I said, "You're talking about my ass, aren't you?" They go, "Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah." And I said, "And you want to, and it's flat, and you want to pat it, am I right?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, we were talking about that, yeah." So, so I said, "Well, hear me out. I totally understand why you'd want to do that, because I do have a very bony, flat nothing back there." I said, "If you pat it and make a nice humanoid ass happen, it's going to look less alien than what I just walked in the room with. I say we keep it." And I won. So so there is no extra padding on. They were also had talked about jutting out my rib cage in a funny way early on as well, and that was also nixed. So they just are celebrating the tall, skinny thing that I am, and that's unusual and wonderful for me. But so then to play with my posture, those hoof boots were the next step. I put them on for the first time, thinking, I don't know if I can walk in these. I mean, just from looking at them, you think that's not humanly possible. But then I was told Lady Gaga did it, so I thought, if Lady can do it, so can Dougie. Okay. So I put those on for the first time in the like a practice pair that wasn't. I still have the practice pair too. I'll auction them off one day, but I had they were made out of a blue neoprene kind of material, just for practice sake, and to see, is this design going to work. Put those on and walked around the costume creation area with mirrors all around, and I noticed I had to throw my hips a little bit forward just to keep my balance better, to keep my balance more forward on the balls of my feet instead of the back heel, because back heel you'd fall back, right? Because there isn't a heel underneath.
There isn't a heel.
Yeah. There isn't one, right? So as I'm walking around with that posture, my arms started swinging naturally side to side behind me instead of this way side to side, or forward and back in at my sides. And I liked how that looked. Like, really, I've never had a character that walked like that before. Never had. And he's written with such gentlemanly verbiage. He's got such a great vocabulary. He's got such great manners. He's like the butler of this wonderful estate called Starship Discovery, right? So I thought this prim and proper posture and this very flowy sort of walk, it just all worked for me, and nobody ever told me to do otherwise, so it stuck. There's your answer.
Wow. So the room full of mirrors, that helped you kind of look it out and feel it out.
Normally a room full of mirrors is horrifying to me, but in that case it worked.
It's funny, Sirach, you're always talking about how on your Deep Space Nine days they were complaining about your flat butt too, right?
Yes, until I got that surgery. Thank God.
That surgery? What, the lipo?
Yeah, they put it all back in there. Now I've got the Barkley butt.
Charles Barkley.
The Charles Barkley butt.
Lieutenant Reginald Barkley, as a lot of Star Trek fans will know, was an engineer on Next Generation, and of course, behind his back, they would call him Broccoli, those rascals. And then Picard yelled at them, saying that you shouldn't call him Mr. Broccoli, it's Barkley. And then one time when he saw Barkley, he accidentally called him Mr. Broccoli. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's for the Star Trek nerds out there. They know what I'm talking about.
They know. Oh, they know.
Played by Dwight Schultz, by the way, who was also Murdoch on the original A-Team. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying, Sarah?
No, I was saying I only brought up what you were talking about earlier with how you move your body, Doug, because we have other humanoid characters. We have the Ferengi. We have all these other characters, but they've never really altered their body mechanics. They still kind of have regular humanoid, like what they would normally move their body. But I see that you're very graceful in your body mechanics, almost like ballerina kind of Cirque du Soleil kind of stuff.
Well, very kind of. Thank you.
I really enjoy that just extra dynamic that you add to the performance. It just makes it that much more believable when I watch you do it.
Well, I just figure, as actors, we play a character from head to toe, even if it's a guy in a t-shirt and jeans, or if it's an alien from another world. So what ecosystem does that character have? And so when you look like Saru, you should move like Saru, whatever that means. I think that's what my first thoughts were.
Yeah.
Doug, I was wondering though, on set, long days, lots of makeup. What was the moment that you look back where you just laughed the hardest on set? Something someone said or did, or just sometimes we just get really tired and we get a case of the giggles, and then it's just everybody starts laughing. Was there a moment where you just lost, you guys were, all of you were laughing, or you were laughing?
Gosh, I mean, you should really warn me about these ahead of time, because every actor you ask that to, they're all going, don't we all start the answer that way, and I can't. We do laugh a lot. It usually involves music, whether it's breaking out into song that's inappropriate, or there's a video. One of my favorite on-set, off-camera moments was Anson Mount, our lovely Captain Pike, posted on his Twitter, which was a fashion show that we did. It was Shazad started it. Who played Tyler. Someone was playing music on their phone and had some speakers Bluetoothed up to them, and so we had some music playing in this holding area while we're waiting for them to set up the next scene. And our chairs were set up in rows facing each other, our set chairs. So it was a perfect, fashion show runway. Yeah. And so someone said to Shazad, like, "Hey, supermodel for us." And so he kind of went like, and just started walking down and we just all doubled over, because he committed to it full on, like attitude, everything. And then it was like everyone taking turns. Hey, you do it. And then so Anson posted a video of my turn, and because I'm already 6'8" in those boots, and I weigh 140 pounds. I'm already kind of built like a runway model. So I had my outer coat, and I came in with attitude, and I kind of walked for a minute and stopped halfway, just kind of looked at everybody, threw my coat down and dragged it the rest of the way out. So I just remember us having a good time laughing about it. That's not a drop, that's not a gut buster, but it was fun.
It's a fun moment. It's a fun moment.
Is it weird that I've never heard the term gut buster? It seems like that's a term that's been around for a long time. It doesn't seem like
no.
Yeah. That comes from my era. Yeah.
You haven't heard gut buster?
I don't know, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, no, that sounds like something that's been around. It seems like it's just me that's never heard of gut buster.
It's a gut buster, a knee slapper.
I've heard the knee slapper.
It's
a humdinger.
A humdinger. It's a humdinger. It's up in there. It's up in that category.
Yeah,
right. So, what's the time limit that it takes to get into that Saru stuff? How long does it take?
It looks like a long time. I get the makeup question all the time, of course.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as long as it looks, because they're not creating every fold, every jot and tittle, every paint scheme every day. They're not creating that from the ground up every day. So I will tell you that the makeup process takes months. That means months of pre-production work at the Creature Effects shop in Los Angeles, Alchemy Labs. They run the molds. They did a life cast of me and did a sculpture on me years ago, and then they made an impression of that. That's all the molds that then they run the pieces on. Those pieces are run out of silicone, and then they do a pre-paint job in the shop. Those pieces come up to Toronto, and then at that point, getting them onto me is the last step, and that takes just about 2 hours a day. And for makeup of that extent, 2 hours a day is nothing.
That's
So
it.
it's my on-set makeup artists are the ones who are place everything, glue it down, clean up the edges with paint and edging, and then put their final touches on it. So yeah, but it takes a village to make a Kelpian.
Doug, was there ever a particular script of a specific episode that you read and you felt like it really gave you a better grasp of the character, kind of gave you more of an aha moment than you already had of the character? Was there one that really kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Season 2, episode 4, when I thought I was dying because my Bahari was coming upon me, and my throat ganglia were getting inflamed and sore, and I was getting sick. And it's like, not seen this before on the home planet. This means I'm about to get cold and die, because that's what we were taught. That's what we knew from the Ba'ul, our predator species, our controlling species on the planet. Well, I'm not there anymore. I'm on a starship by myself. And so little did I know that seeing the Bahari process through, these throat ganglia, instead of killing me, would fall out, and it was my adolescence going away, and I was becoming a full adult Kelpian now, which none of us had ever had the chance to do. So that was a huge aha moment. And by the end of that episode, that's when Saru is having a talk with Burnham, saying, yeah, happy I'm alive, but do you know what this means? This means that like my entire planet of people has been living a humongous lie, and lives have been lost needlessly for generations beyond what I can count. Right. So no, huge. Yeah.
I did want to kind of talk very quickly about The Shape of Water too, by the way.
The water has no shape, Ryan. What are you talking about?
But if it's frozen, you can okay. However you.
It takes the shape of its container. That's the lesson we can learn. Okay.
No, I just kind of was, when I was watching it, I was kind of, I like to picture what it's like on the page, and I wanted to know what your impression was when you first read that script. Were you just like, this is a beautiful thing and I can't wait to be a part of it? I know that you work with Guillermo all the time, so was it just like, oh, if it's Guillermo, I'm sure it'll be great? But I have a feeling you read the script and you just thought, this is beautiful and I'd love to do it.
A combo platter. Because when I first heard about this movie, I was in Toronto working on Crimson Peak, another Guillermo del Toro film. Mm-hmm. I played 2 of his ghost ladies in that. On one of my days off, Guillermo asked me to come to the set during lunchtime so we could sneak off to his office and have a quiet talk about his next project. So I was like, oh, this will be exciting. So that was 2014, January 2014. So it's a while ago. Mm-hmm. He had me close the door, just the 2 of us quietly, and he said, here's what I'm So he was more articulate than that. But he told me the next movie he wants to do is going to be a smaller scale film on a smaller budget, because he'd been doing one big studio film after another, and he hadn't done his own sort of passion project on a more independent budget for himself since Pan's Labyrinth, which I was also thankfully a part of. So I was just excited to hear that. That was the best news ever alone, is that he wants to get back to a piece of art that's going to be his very own. It's not a big franchise that he's going to that he's been asked to do, but something he wants to do. And so then he starts telling me he didn't have a script written yet. He was telling me the story, just like we had story time, so he was telling me the story verbally. A cleaning lady in a government facility, a new asset is brought in. It's a creature from the wild, from the Amazon, who happens to be, it's a legend that he's a river god of some sort. And then so it goes on, there's a love that sparks because he's the only one that ever gets her. She's the only one that ever really gets him. And I'm just listening like a kid with huge eyes, like, and then what happens? And what, they escape? And then it becomes this like, this chase caper. And I was listening, going, oh my gosh. So he was worried. He was worried about me saying yes to it, because he says, I know you're a good Catholic boy, so I want to make sure this is going to be okay with you and Mrs. Laurie. Because I was like, wait, what could be the problem? That morally, what are you worried about? So he said, well, there's an F scene,
kind of a sex scene.
Kind of, yeah. And I'm like, oh, really? In a monster suit? This will be interesting. How are we going at a doggy style? He said, well, no, there's a bathtub. Oh, okay. So we. But his biggest concern, and this is the kind of a man that Guillermo del Toro is. His concern was that I was comfortable with doing such a piece of a storyline, and that my lovely wife, Mrs. Laurie, was also comfortable with me being on film doing this piece of a storyline. So he said, talk to each other about it. Don't give me an answer today. It was very kind of him, and very, that's a director who knows you well and wants to make sure everybody's, and he's a family man himself, and he understands the value of keeping peace at home and all that. So it was very sweet of him, very sweet of him. So, but it was a no-brainer to me. I knew that artistically he was going to handle this in a way that was not going to be. And there are a lot of jokes about The Shape of Water being like it's a fish sex movie. No, they didn't see it, right? So it's just so much more, and
totally.
And any love scenes in there make perfect. When you watch the movie to the very end, it all makes perfect sense, and there's no. It's not what the naysayers would think it is. It's quite awesome. Beautiful. It's quite beautiful, and I knew that going in. And I walked out of Guillermo del Toro's office that day, having not read the script, thinking to myself, this is his next trip to the Oscars, because he hadn't been there since Pan's Labyrinth. And I think I called it, because with 13 nominations and 4 wins, including Best Director and Best Picture, I was the first one to call it years before it ever happened.
It also got you a trip to the Oscars.
Well, I was invited to go. I didn't get a nomination of my own, but I was invited to go along.
You were there for sure.
That was my second trip. I went there also with the Pan's Labyrinth team in 2007, and then again in 20. What year was that? 2018. So
after that meeting, you automatically thought Oscar? I mean, after that pitch?
No question in my mind. I knew him as a filmmaker, knew what he was going to do with that story he just told me. So when I got the script, as you were asking specifically about, the script read exactly how I pictured him telling me when he told me the story verbally, and with even more nuance and more yummy and more to chew on. And then the casting choices start coming in. We got Sally Hawkins, we got Richard Jenkins, we got Octavia Spencer, we got Michael Shannon. What the frick? I was going to be working with some powerhouse actors. They were all decorated, all nominated in various, all awards. And here I am like, hey, I'm wearing a fish suit. Hey! Yeah, I felt like the country cousin, but they were all so incredibly gracious and respectful. And I was, I was very much a part of the family, and that played out through the entire process, all the way from filming to promoting to in theaters to award season and beyond now. So it was a glorious experience for me all around.
Well, you weren't just the guy in the fish suit. You were also the guy that was in the Mac Tonight suit. Like 30 years ago or something. Did you know that, Sarak?
No way.
Do you remember those old, what was it, McDonald's commercials?
Yeah, Mac Tonight.
That's him.
Yeah,
I didn't know that until you posted like a year ago. I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't realize it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, Sarak, when you mentioned your Capri Sun commercials, one of my early jobs was the McDonald's Mac Tonight campaign, the crescent moon head.
Yeah.
Saying at a piano, when the clock strikes, hey.
Yeah.
That was
it's Mac Tonight.
Yeah. I did 27 commercials in that moon head over a 3-year period. Yeah. So,
wow,
that is crazy. That is so amazing. Do you find yourself? Do people recognize you a lot because now that you're
as the Mac Tonight guy?
No. I mean, because you're always wearing so much elaborate makeup, and most of the time, do you find yourself having, hey, how come nobody recognizes me, or do people just already know you?
Oh, well, back in the day, back in my early days, like when the Mac Tonight campaign was going, that was the biggest thing I'd ever done. That was like my fourth commercial booking, and it was, it took the country by storm, and then it went
for years.
Well.
Yeah, for like a while.
For years, yeah.
Years.
So I did exit the house or go through an airport or a mall, thinking, I wonder if anybody knows. And of course, there's no way. But then I got used to that and kind of enjoyed like having a very public persona with a lot of the jobs I did after that. A lot of the makeups I wear and characters that I play. It's a dream for an actor to be able to have something on screen that the millions of people are seeing, and then have a private life that can stay that way. That's the perfect spot to be in. Totally. So, but I started getting a little bit more press when Pan's Labyrinth came out. I'd already done the first Hellboy movie, so I was a blip on the radar for a minute. And when the first Hellboy movie came out in theaters, and then I had some more anonymous years, still working every year in movies and TV shows, but then I spiked again when Pan's Labyrinth was coming out. And they did I was the only American actor who spoke English as a first language in Pan's Labyrinth. Mm-hmm. So it opened in Europe, but when it opened in the States afterward, I was the go-to actor for all of the press. So that was a new one for me, to be the centerpiece of all the press they were doing here in the States for a huge movie release. And then that one culminating by being interviewed on the red carpet at the Oscars by Joan Rivers and everybody, Access Hollywood, the whole nine yards. So more facial recognition was happening then, and then also right after that, the Oscars for Pan's Labyrinth, The Silver Surfer came out later that summer, right, with more press, more notoriety. And while that came out, I was working on Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, which was more press, more notoriety, and they actually touted me more for Hellboy 2 than I ever got for Hellboy 1. So there was more interviews like the one we're doing right now, marries this face to that entire career. Then I thought that I was going to be on a comfortable coast downward after all that. And then at age 56, I get cast as Saru in Star Trek Discovery, and the Amphibian Man in the Shape of Water starts filming as well in 2016.
And then somebody's IMDb star rating jumped up to like 6 or something, right?
My highest ever. When The Shape of Water came out in theaters and went through and was being advertised for award season, and had gotten its 13 nominations. I went up to number 6 on IMDb, which is, for a guy like me, for a goofy kid from Indiana, that's just unheard of. And I hung up in the top. We all of us in the cast of Shape of Water hung up in the top 10 for about 5 weeks.
Wow!
So I couldn't. You kidding me? Yeah.
So we just have a few minutes left here, but I was just thinking, I feel like you've probably gotten asked every question in the book, or one similar to it, dozens, hundreds of times. Is there a question that you wish people would ask? Like for me, I wish people would ask me about like kitties or gardening or like geography or history. I would love to, like, that's when my eyes light up. You know what I mean? Is there something to where you wish people would ask you about it, even if it has nothing to do with your acting career?
Yeah, no, and in decades of doing interviews now, I have been asked pretty much every question imaginable. And I love it when they go off the page. I do. So thank you for this. One of a favorite thing is like other skills, hobbies, or interests that I might have that no one might know about. Aside from stuffed animals, I also have, some people go to the garage and have a clump of clay and they sculpt, or they have a big easel and they'll paint to get another artistic, muscle flexed in their day. Mm-hmm. I cut hair. Did you know that? I know.
We've known each other for quite a handful of years, and I don't think. I mean, I know that you cut your own.
I've been cutting my own since I was in the 7th grade. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cut my own in this pandemic, and you can see how that worked out for me.
Do you use scissors, clippers? What do you use?
I do a combination of both, but I can do scissors only. I can, but this is starts with clippers, ends up with scissors on top. Mm-hmm. If you've ever seen me as a human being in anything, there's quite a few. If you'll again watch my IMDb page, but every TV appearance, movie that I've done, indie or bigger, with as a human, I've cut, colored, styled my own hair for all of those.
It looks perfect though, doesn't it, Sarak?
It does. It does.
Wow.
And I love your facial expressions. You're the best facial expression guy I think ever. I don't know why they got to use you more, man. Your facials are great.
He makes all of his own facial expressions too.
I do all that at home. and and again, the older I get, and the more I want to check off things on my bucket list. Another thing that I've talked about, so this has already been out there, but I will tell you as well. My dream acting job is to do a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yes,
I know. Now your audience for this podcast,
no way, like a love story.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Now I'm in an age bracket though where they always have people that are 60 and above that play the parents. Right. Of the young love interests in the Hallmark movies. There's always parents in every movie, so there's a place for me. And but I just want to. I have the Hallmark Channel on almost all the time.
Right.
It's my go-to happy place where happy endings, low stakes problem. The worst problem they encounter is a misunderstanding.
Yeah. You know what to expect, right? You know what? It's okay. It's easy.
It's so easy on my heart to watch. And during the pandemic, the Hallmark Channel has been very, very comforting to me. So if I can be, I did do a Hallmark movie for Hallmark Movies and Mysteries about 5 years ago. I was Raquel Welch's butler in a movie called The Ultimate Legacy. It was dreamy. I was in and out of the makeup trailer in 15 minutes. I wore a bow tie and a watch chain and a 3-piece suit, and it was. And we were filming on a big horse property in outside Louisville, Kentucky. Beautiful in the summertime. I want to do more of that. Yeah, more of that. So there. I cut hair, and I want to do Hallmark movies. Is that what you were looking for, Rye?
Totally. Totally.
I think Hallmark's going to reach out to you after this one. This is
not.
There's been some talk. Well, hopefully things will pan out.
You are the butler that dreams of cutting hair, but then there's a misunderstanding, and everybody works it out at the end. You know.
Yeah. I did not see that coming. Yeah.
He's writing the story now.
Right.
Right. So we got to go just a second here. Very quickly, though, our good friend and brother, Mr. Aaron Eisenberg, passed away about 7-8 months ago. And you did say that you had the chance of meeting him and Melissa a couple times. Do you want to give us a quick impression of our good friend, Mr. Aaron?
Yes. Well, we actually met for the first time at the Star Trek Discovery Season 1 premiere. So it was a big deal. We did it down at the ArcLight Panorama Dome or Cinerama Dome in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And they had invited cast members from all other Star Trek series to come join us and celebrate our big premiere. And so at the after party is when I met Aaron. And imagine, I'm 6'3.5". Aaron was not 6'3.5".
He's less than that, yeah.
Yes, and so our height difference was comical going in. So, but when I met him, I knew who he was immediately. Mm-hmm. It does not take a Ferengi makeup to make you understand and appreciate and love that man. So there was instant hugging and hi, I'm such a fan of yours. We were fanboying all over each other. And there were huggles, there were head pets, there were face cuppings, and we were just like, oh my gosh, that is the nicest man I've ever met. So that's the impression I walked away with. So we stayed in touch on the social medias after that, and I believe I might have brushed up with him again at a Star Trek convention, I think in the green room, because a lot of us, bump into each other in green rooms and go, "Hey, good to see you again. I got to go to a thing. I need to, okay." But so we had one of those after that.
Yeah.
But he was such a sweet, kind-hearted man, a gentle soul.
Mm. I feel like you may have also been at one of our viewing parties before with Saru and Aaron, possibly. I don't know, maybe Aaron wasn't there.
Saru, yes, you were there. I don't, was Aaron there? I don't think he was there.
I don't remember. It was off and on a few of those times.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was for an episode in season 2 I came by, right?
Definitely. Okay.
I was amazed to meet the great legendary Doug Jones, and I thought, damn, this guy's so down to earth and really cool to talk to. And you just continued that. So people out there have a real good reason to be a fan of your work and support you.
Give me your face. Give me that face.
There it is.
Oh, thank you. That's great. Yeah, me too. You're just you're lovely, Saru. Don't ever change.
And you've got a great butt, by the way, Doug.
Well, right?
Well, I thought you were talking to me, Ryan.
You already know. I already tell you that all the time, dude.
Thank you.
Anyway. All right, everybody. Well, we got to run. We're going to talk about each other's. Nobody complimented my butt, by the way. I have to just imagine.
Oh, Ryan, you have.
We'll wait to the break. We'll wait.
It's a great butt. Are we? So just tell me, both of you, are we? Since I'm on a show called Star Trek Discovery, and since we did finish filming season 3 before the pandemic, and it still has yet to come out, are we excited about that, you guys?
Yes.
Well, yes, and the fans are going nuts for it. Every day people are saying, when's season 3? When's season 3? And that's always a good sign. It's when they don't ask that you're like, hey, by the way, guys, season 3's coming out. No, everybody's going nuts. There are articles for it all the time. I've got the biggest Discovery group, on Facebook in the world.
I do know,
They are constantly a buzz and a flutter.
I'm a member of that Facebook group. Okay.
We'll edit that out so people don't.
No, they don't follow it.
I pop up in there every so often.
You do. You give the love to everybody, and that's so nice, and it makes people so happy. Then you get the people that do a screenshot. Yeah. Then you do. Sorry, somebody's trying to talk to me. Then you do a screenshot of the people that are like, they're like, oh, Doug Jones gave a love to my post or my whatever it was, and that's usually a big buzz as well.
I'm looking forward to the season 3 to find out where it's going to go now, because it feels like the first 2 seasons were different from each other, and now it feels like they've left all of that behind, and now we're going to start a whole another journey.
And season 3 will also be very different from the other 2.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see where it's going to go, where what's going to play out.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to see it too, because we do jump to the future, and the future holds all kinds of mystery, doesn't it?
Yes. No secrets will be revealed.
We're really excited for it. It seems like it's going to be an awesome time. Really happy for all of you. It seems like not just you, but all the actors involved. They just seem like wonderful people, so we can't help but root for them and root for the success.
And you guys
are
you're part of the group that's bringing back Star Trek on television. And we thank you for bringing honor to it and integrity and really doing a quality, classy job of representing the franchise. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And to anybody watching us too, thank you for keeping us on the air. And I think we've had quite a surge in audience since the pandemic, as people have been home and binge watching things. And I think also thank heaven for Star Trek Picard and the uber presence of Patrick Stewart, bringing in audience that were interested but never committed to watching. They came in for Picard, they stayed for Discovery, they've binged it all now, and so I think our audience is more excited, bigger and more excited now than ever. So I'm very excited about season 3 coming for you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Doug. That's what he would say if he were here. Anyway, that wasn't my best. Sorry about that. So everybody, this is Mr. Doug Jones. You know him as Saru. It's been a great time. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate everything that you are. Doug, and we love how friendly and filled with light you are, and how just a bundle of joy and love you are at conventions and online, and it's really infectious. Don't steal. That was aimed at me, Sirach. You already got a face.
Man, when I see those hands, I gotta get.
All right.
It's been fun, though. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I mean,
it's been great. Thank you so much for having me on today, too. This has been
thank you so much.
Be a part.
One of these days, you got to cut Ryan's hair on and show us what you can do with that.
We'll throw that on. We'll throw that on the YouTube.
We'll throw that on an episode.
I look like Wei Yun now.
Yeah.
Wei Yun is a character from Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
Anyway, all the best, and for everybody at home, always remember the 7th rule.